Agile Terminologies. Sprint, a time-boxed period of 1 to 4 weeks during which the team develops and delivers a working product increment. Product backlog, a prioritized list of features, functions, requirements, and enhancements that the team would develop over time. The product backlog is continuously refined and reprioritized based on feedback and new insights. Sprint backlog, a subset of the product backlog that the team commits to delivering during a sprint. The sprint backlog is a plan that guides the team's work during the sprint. Definition of done, a shared understanding among the team and stakeholders of what constitutes a done product increment. The definition of done includes acceptance criteria, quality standards, and other requirements that must be met before the team considers the work complete. Scrum Master, the role responsible for facilitating the Scrum framework and ensuring that the team adheres to its principles and practices. A Scrum Master serves as a coach, mentor, and facilitator for the team and helps to remove impediments and foster continuous improvement. Product Owner, the role responsible for maximizing the value of the product and managing the product backlog. The Product Owner represents the stakeholders and customers and works closely with the team to define and prioritize the features and requirements. Daily Scrum, a brief, time-boxed meeting held every day during the sprint, in which the team members share updates on their progress, plan their work for the day, and identify any impediments. Sprint Review, a meeting held at the end of each sprint, in which the team demonstrates the working product increment to the stakeholders and customers and receives feedback. Sprint Retrospective, a meeting held at the end of each sprint, in which the team reflects on their process and identifies ways to improve their practices and performance in the next sprint. Agile, a flexible and iterative approach to product development that emphasizes collaboration, customer involvement, and responding to change. User Story, a brief, informal description of a feature or requirement from the perspective of a user or customer. User stories are typically written on index cards or sticky notes and are used to capture and prioritize product backlog items. Minimum viable product, the smallest version of a product that can be delivered to customers while still providing value. MVPs are used to test and validate assumptions and to get feedback from customers. Continuous integration, the practice of regularly merging code changes into a shared repository and verifying that the resulting code can be built, tested, and deployed. CI helps to detect and resolve conflicts and issues early and often. Continuous delivery, the practice of automating the delivery of software to production or staging environments. CD enables frequent, reliable, and low-risk releases. Retrospective, a meeting held at the end of a sprint or project, in which the team reflects on their process and identifies ways to improve their practices and performance in the next iteration. Tandem, a visual management tool that helps teams visualize their workflow and optimize their process. Kanban boards typically consist of columns that represent different stages of the workflow, such as to do, in progress, and done, and cards that represent work items. Lean, a methodology that focuses on delivering value to customers while minimizing waste and maximizing efficiency. Lean principles are often applied to Agile and Scrum practices to improve process and performance. Sprint Zero, a preparatory phase before the first official sprint in which the team sets up their development environment, establishes their tools and infrastructure, defines their product backlog, and plans their sprint cadence and goals. Continuous improvement, a philosophy of constantly evaluating and improving processes, practices, and outcomes in order to achieve better results over time. In Agile, continuous improvement is an ongoing process that involves frequent retrospectives and feedback loops. Stakeholder management, the practice of identifying, engaging, and communicating with stakeholders in order to understand their needs and perspectives and to ensure their involvement and satisfaction throughout the development process. Metrics, quantitative measurements used to track and analyze performance and progress. In Agile, common metrics include lead time, cycle time, throughput, and team velocity. Lead time, the time it takes to complete the work item from the moment it is requested to the moment it is delivered. Cycle time, the time it takes to complete the work item from the moment work begins to the moment it is delivered. Throughput, the amount of work completed by a team or process over a given period of time. Rundown chart, a graphical representation of the remaining work in a sprint or project. Rundown charts are used to track progress and to identify potential issues and delays. Team velocity, a measurement of the amount of work a team can complete in a given sprint. Velocity is calculated by summing the estimated effort of all completed work items. Epic, a large, high-level requirement or feature that is too big to be completed in a single sprint. Epics are typically broken down into smaller, more manageable features or user stories. Feature, a discrete, customer-facing functionality that is developed and delivered by the team. Technical debt, the accumulated cost of maintaining and updating legacy code or infrastructure. Technical debt can be reduced through refactoring and other development practices. Anti-pattern, a common but ineffective or counterproductive solution to a problem. Anti-patterns are to be avoided in order to optimize development practices and outcomes. Bugs, an error or defect in a software system that causes it to behave unexpectedly or incorrectly. Bugs can arise from a variety of sources, including coding errors, environmental issues, or design flaws. Task, a specific, actionable item that needs to be completed in order to deliver a user story or feature. Tasks are typically small and granular and can be assigned to individual team members. Work in progress limits, a constraint on the amount of work that can be in progress at any given time. Work in progress limits are used to prevent bottlenecks and to encourage flow and completion of work. Team capacity, the amount of work that a team can realistically complete in a given sprint or time period. Team capacity is influenced by factors such as the number of team members, their skills and experience, and any external dependencies or constraints. Roadmap, a high-level plan that outlines the goals, priorities, and timelines for a product or project over a longer time horizon in a sprint. Roadmaps are used to communicate the product vision and to align stakeholders around a common direction. Story mapping, a collaborative technique for visualizing and organizing user stories into a coherent narrative or user journey. Story mapping helps to prioritize and sequence work and to identify dependencies and gaps. Story slicing, a technique for breaking down large or complex user stories into smaller, more manageable pieces that can be delivered incrementally. Story slicing helps to reduce risk and to promote early and frequent feedback. Invest criteria, a set of characteristics that a well-formed user story should possess. Invest stands for independent, negotiable, valuable, estimable, small, and testable. Deep, a set of characteristics that a well-formed product backlog item should possess. Deep stands for detailed appropriately, emergent, estimated, prioritized, and small. SDLC, the software development life cycle, which refers to the stages and activities involved in developing and delivering software products. Common phases of the SDLC include planning, analysis, design, implementation, testing, and deployment. OODA loop, a decision-making framework that stands for observe, orient, decide, and act. The OODA loop is used to make rapid, adaptive decisions in complex and dynamic environments. PDCA, the Plan, Do, Check, Act cycle, which is a framework for continuous improvement. PDCA